Then you're going to do an investigation to see if you can work out what happens when you're finding the gradient of a curve, if there's a way that we can do that without having to keep drawing tangents. But we're actually going to start by drawing lots and lots of tangents. So just going to talk you through the start of this first question. So the first graph that you're looking at is y equals x squared, and you've got a link on your OneNote to a site called Desmos. And if it comes up like this with a calculator, you just need to go to Math Tool and go to Graphing Calculator, but hopefully yours will come straight like this. So the first thing you're going to do is type in the graph of y equals x squared. So y equals x, and then to get the squared, you go down to the keypad here and just press the squared button, and then I'd get rid of the keypad again. So that's your graph drawn for you. And then it asks you to look at the gradient of the line joining x equals 1 to x equals 3. So we go back to our graph and we want to plot those points of x equals 1 and x equals 3 so we can see what's going on. So if you put a plus here, or just hit return, and put in the coordinates of the point when x equals 1. So this is x squared. So if x equals 1, y equals 1. And it's plotted the point for you. And if x equals 3, then y equals 9 because it's x squared. And then if we click on that to get rid of all of those, we can make our graph a bit bigger. And in fact, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on. You're then going to take a snip of this graph to put into your OneNote. So using your snip and sketch tool, you don't need obviously the whole screen, but you do need the graph, so you'll want that bit. And then go back to your OneNote and you should just be able to paste it in. Now, you wanted the gradient between those 2 points, so you're then going to use your ruler function and you're going to join those 2 points up as accurately as you can with your ruler. It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but the closer it is, the easier you'll actually see what's going to happen at the end. And then join those 2 points up with a straight line. So we know that the gradient is the change in y, sorry, over the change in x, get it right? Change in y divided by the change in x. So the change in y, that's where we are going to put in our triangle. You can use a ruler if you want to. So it's gone 1 to 9, so the change in y is 8. And the change in x has gone from 1 to 3, so that's 2. So the gradient of that line is 4. So you would put in here that this point was 1, the second point x was 3, and the third and y was 9. Yeah, so those are our 2 sets of coordinates, 1, 1, 3, 9, and the gradient you worked out to be 4. You then do exactly the same, but this time with the point when x equals 1 and x equals 2. So you go back to your graph on Desmos, click on this to get your points back again, and change your second point to this time when x is 2. So we're on y squared, so 2 squared is 4. You would then take a snip of your graph again. Obviously you don't necessarily need as much this time because the points aren't as big. Pop them back in your OneNote. You draw your line with your ruler again to join those points up, and you find the gradient of those points. That didn't work. Going on there. There we go, it's better. So this time our change in y has gone from 1 up to 4, so 3, and our change in x from 1 to 2, so 1. So the gradient is 3. And if you fill in the table, then this point is still 1, we had our x coordinate of 2, so our y coordinate of 4, and we got our gradient out as 3. And you do exactly the same for the next 2 lines. And then there are a whole load of different questions, but in exactly the same way for you to have a go at. And we'll see what you notice, hopefully, about the gradients as you go on. So it's using Desmos to draw your graphs and label your points. Take a snip of your graph, pop it into OneNote and find the gradient each time.